All right, so this question is requested from a classmate. This is page 198, number 20. It's an achievement check of sections 3.5. Uh, it's a rough one, and we're going to stretch your understanding a little bit. Let's get started. The question says, here is a base function of 3 to the power of x, or the parent function, so to speak, and it has been transformed into the one you see right here. Question is, what happened to it? How do we get from 3 to the power of x into that? So in class, we've only learned about exponents in the form of, a, k, d, c, right, for exponents. So I'm going to take this and try to convert it, or try to, I guess, simplify it so that I'll be better able to identify a, k, d, and c. Let's get started. You'll see a little bit more manipulation than you might have imagined. So here we go. We got -1, can't do much with that. A 1/3. It would be nice if I could turn it back to that, right? But hold off for now. Let's do 1/3. I would like the x all alone, so I'm going to factor out a -3, leaving me with the positive x and a -4. From that one move alone, you've identified k and d. Now, just to go back to the base, is there a way I can manipulate and write the base in terms of 3 instead of 1/3? Well, yes. If you remember, x to the power of -1 is essentially the reciprocal to the power of 1. And in the same way, 1/x to the power of -1 would be the reciprocal to the power of 1. So if you have 1 over something, you can actually turn it into its reciprocal by adding a negative or multiplying a negative to the entire exponent. Now I'm being extra by adding more brackets, but if you simplify this, all that turns into is 3 to the power of +3 multiplied by x minus 4. Sort of makes things a little easier, doesn't it? With that, my a is a -1, my k is a 3, my d is a +4, my c is a 2. Describe the transformations. So in words, if I had to write it out, it would be a vertical reflection on the x-axis. That'd be the first one. Second one would be a horizontal. So k value of 3 means the entire curve has been smushed horizontally. So I'm going to say compression by a factor of 1/3. So all the x values, if I were to map it out, all the x values are multiplied by 1/3. And so I write it that way in the description as well. D is a horizontal shift 4 to the right because it's a positive value. And C is a vertical shift up by 2 units. That's it. That would be part A. So just for the sake of making a small video, I'm going to keep going. Graph that same function. Graph y equals -1/3 to the power of 12 minus 3x plus 2. So instead of graphing that, I can say I graph this equation by using this one. So I'm going to do that. And then I identify a domain, range, equation of the asymptote, and intercepts if they exist. Okay, so let me clear everything. Bear with me here. I'm going to erase everything except the equation I want. Oops. Okay. So I'm going to take this and bring it here. And this is going to be also written. I'm going to bring us a thing, an axis. Parent function of y equals 3x. That would be 0, 1, 1, 2, 3. That will be 1, 3. And that will be 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah. 2, 9. Okay, so here is my parent function. It's not the most accurate, but I think you get the point. And my asymptote is currently y equals 0. Vertical reflection. Ooh, I should have known better. My vertical reflection would bring us down here. Remember, this is a rough sketch, but you can compare after. Horizontal compression by a factor of 1/3. That's not very nice, but let's do it. So this point is divided by a 3. That point is divided by a 3. 0, 0 is the same. 1, 3 becomes 1/3 3, negative 3. Oof. And then 2, 9 becomes 2/3 1/9, which is way down there. Can I bring this up? Let's do it. It makes so much sense if I were to able to show. I mean, that's the whole point of this video, right? So this becomes 1/3, 3. And the next point becomes down here, 2/3, 9. The curve is, much thinner compared to our parent function. I hope you can see that's a little thinner. Next, this entire curve is going to be moved 4 to the right and 2 up. So I'll do that in one smooth motion using a red. But if you're a little concerned, if you're a little worried, you may want to just use the C value or the vertical shift to help you. A vertical shift of 2 plus means my asymptote is going to be at y equals 2, which means this point is 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. It's going to be right there. This point is going to be 1/3 and 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, somewhere there. Okay. This becomes 1, 2, 3, 4. So over here, and 1, 2, somewhere there. Again, this is just a quick sketch. Sorry, it's not too accurate. It's very difficult to do it on pen. And I'm going to estimate, because I know this is supposed to be approaching the asymptote, I'm going to do the same and take the points and approach the asymptote in this way. Okay, so this would be y is equal to -1, 3 to the power of 3x minus 4 plus 2, which is the same as saying -1/3, 12 minus 3x plus 2. Okay. Domain. Okay, let's do it. I'll just get in black. Domain is x belongs to all real numbers, and it goes on forever left, and it will go on forever right. So that's it. But for range, take a look at the asymptote. We've already established it. Y is any real number, but this function has to be under 2 and never touching 2. Equation of the asymptote. I think we've already established that. I've done it just to help myself out. Y equals 2. Intercepts, if they exist. Well, there's a x-intercept here. There's a y-intercept there. We'll start with the y-intercept by applying, when x equals 0, what's my y? Let me quickly do it. So 0, so I'm going to start here. 0 minus 4 is -4 times 3, -12. 3 to the power of -12. I guess you can write that as a fraction, but I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to plug it in the calculator. Power of -12. 3 to the power of -12 times -1, and then added to a 2. So this is essentially really close to the asymptote already, which makes sense. The answer is 1.999998. Okay, so already, which makes sense, we are getting closer and closer to the value of 2, but not really touching it. So what would the x value be if the y value was a 0? A couple of things you can do. You could cross your fingers and hope that you are crossing a exact value, but I am going to save myself some time by plugging in the y value as 0. So 0 is equal to -3, 3x minus 4 plus 2. And then we do some math. And -2 divided by 2. So that's 2 equals 3, 3x minus 4. Okay, so let's do up here because I'm running out of space. 3 to the power of what gives me a 2? let's see. I'm going to cheat and do a logarithm just because I don't want to waste time doing guess and check. But for you, at this point in time, we didn't learn anything about logarithms. So you will have to do this guess and check business. Okay, so our answer is x is going to be 0.6309, so 0.631. That means, remember, the equation was 2 is equal to 3 to the power of 3x minus 4. This has to be 0.631. Therefore, by default, 3x minus 4 has to equal 0.631. Maybe you're confused of why all the x's are changing. So let me, how would I change this? How would I just say t? 3 to the power of some number, n, let's do n. 3 to the power of some number equals 2. N must be that. N represents the exponent, and 3x minus 4 equals the exponent. So from here, 3x equals 4.631. X must be equal to approximately 1.5436. So let's round it to about 1.54. Whew. In other words, when the y value equals a 0, my x is 1.54. So again, it's long. That's why I guess we call it an achievement check. If you want to compare this with a test question, how would it, what are you responsible for? How does it compare? I can totally give you an equation and expect you to graph it, but I don't think I would give you something with so many different ways to simplify just because we're so short on time. I'm not curious of whether you're able to simplify an equation and do algebra inside an exponential function. I'm more curious of whether you know how to graph it given enough time. Okay. And we're also going to get you to identify the x-intercept and y-intercept. Maybe for the x-intercept, because it's really easy, you just have to plug in an x as 0. But the y-intercept, you have to sort of do guess and check because we didn't learn logarithms. So that's going to be also a time killer, which is something I want to avoid for the test. We have very little time. Hope this video helps and that it answers your question. I also hope that you did get it and you'll find more confidence in your answers from now on. Have a good one and see you in the next video.